I will start with an open question. How many of you in here feel that you're introvert? A great bunch of you. If you take the opposite, extrovert, less, right? And something in between, maybe? Hmm. And you who said in between, is that because of you don't know if you're introvert or extrovert, or you are really in between? Really in between. Hmm? Hmm? Cool. Yeah? Hmm? Yeah? Of course. Um, I'm gonna start with some personal things. Um, let's see if we can. Yes. Okay. Um, it says my journey on the presentation, which means that someone started a journey, me, for instance, and I'm ongoing on that journey. And now I'm sharing parts of it since. So it all began actually when I was 15. Um, I knew that something was, yeah, odd. I wasn't normal, at least. Um, I wasn't the kid who had a lot of friends. I didn't go to a lot of parties. I really don't like to socialize with people. Um, so I guess I wasn't normal according to the standards of how our world works today. Um, so I had basically one friend and a handful of close friends, or one really close friend and a handful of close friends that I could hang around with, and that was okay for me. Um, the party thing, I think I can count on my hands on how many parties I went to, both during the teenager phase and also the university phase. That was nothing for me at all. And regarding the socializing thing, I mean, having friends over or family reunion, whatever. Um, mm, yeah. um, but that doesn't mean that I didn't work. I mean, I could say that I was a really I was social by text, basically, and I still am. So if you want to contact me afterwards, you can send an SMS or something, maybe. Um, I was quiet and actually a neutral kid. Wasn't standing out in any point of view. Um, I could say that I was an expert of reading other people's body languages, and I was also a master of reading between the lines. And I think I still am. So I could see something that no one else could see. I could see, yeah, I observed everything. Not only the verbal communication, but also the physical one. It doesn't say that I'm a professional in it. I can read it. I don't do it. Um, it actually went so far. So when I grew up, I actually told myself that I needed to shape up. I need to be social. I need to have more friends. I need to talk to people. I need to ask people, who are you? What are you doing here? Why are you here? And being interested in things. But I actually didn't give a fuck at all. So I actually tried, um, but it got the opposite effect instead. I was completely drained of energy, and it took a lot of time to recover. So that was not funny at all. Um, so 10 years later, and when I was 25-ish, I found a personality test online from Myers-Briggs, of course. Um, I made this test and I found a new word, introvert. And it was a new world opened up. I was there was a word for who I was. Um, so from that day, I said that I don't need to adapt to the world. The world needs to accept me. Um, so that was a pretty strong statement, and I live by that still. And today, I'm. This is one part of it. I'm sharing my story, my expertise in the area, and I know that you are enlightened since you raised your hand before. But I think there is a lot of people out in the world not knowing what's happening or if it's acceptable or not, who they are. Um, so that is a part of my my call. I'm here to enlighten people. Um, so today, my name is still Daniel. Today I'm 33. Um, I'm standing here talking about personal things like my teenager time, my emotions, whatever. Um, yeah, and that is hard. Um, but I took it as a challenge, and as you can see on my T-shirt, I accepted it. So that's why I'm here. Um, I'm going to tell you something about the personality types from Myers-Briggs. I'm going into behavior schemas, um, and some about leadership in general, and what my reflections of what a good leader or a good leadership related to these things are. Um, as we said on the beginning, that's why I'm working on Very Sure as well. Um, and just to make some commercial, after this session and after the beer and pizzas, we're actually having an event on the office today, a recruitment event. So if you're looking for a new job, you can hang around with me afterwards. So we can go up, and I think if we are lucky, there is some hamburgers as well, so don't eat too much pizza. But there is plenty of time to socialize, and if you would like to do that. Um, yeah, let's take the other things later. Um, so, what is a session without an agenda? I think you will notice later in the presentation why there is an agenda, why it needs to be structured. But this is my way. This is basically what we're going through. So that one I mentioned before, but also the behavior schemas from the DISC model. I don't know, have anyone? Good. I forgot one thing on the previous slide. That one. That is pretty important. I'm not a person that is used or like to present things, telling things about myself. But if someone asks me a question, I will delightfully tell you something. So if you have something that you want to have answered on, just raise your hand and I will catch it. So, agenda. I think I covered that in the previous slide. Okay, let's start. Myers-Briggs, mother and daughter trying to categorize people into different categories, or dimensions as they call it. You have them here. And based on the combination, or if you were more of an extrovert, you got an E. And if you're intuition or sensing, you get an I and N or S. And in the end, you get a combination of letters. Do you all know what kind of letter combination you have? Yeah. Yeah. Someone who doesn't? Ah, cool. Let's guide you through that then. You mean if the world consists of more introverts than extroverts, or the other way around? There is actually a percentage here, and let's see, the ISTJ, ISFJ, and ESFJ is the greatest ones. Good question. You can do the math. All right. Yeah, that is the introvert, those two rows, and that is extrovert. Yeah. No. All right. So if you got the question about where you got your energy from, would you say that it is more fulfilling from an energy point of view to sit in on the sofa watching a movie on Friday nights than going out and having a couple of drinks with your friends or 20 of your friends? Hmm? That was a good answer. Um, so I guess the introversion is the sofa version, and that is the drinking version. Right? So if you are going down to the second one, uh, do you trust your senses, your five senses, to get information? Trust concrete information, concrete facts? Or do you go from your gut feeling or subconscious mind when you're trying to trust information or get information? That is more of a gut feeling or fact person when you're here. And your five senses is sensing. Right. The other part is regarding decisions. That is the two opposites there as well. Do you base your decision based on logical thinking, or do you do it by thinking about how other people would react or how other people would yeah, analyze that value of something kind? There is the fact, and there is the people dimension. Another one is my favorite. How do you handle the outside world? Are you a very structured person? Are you having calendars for everything, for instance? Or organizing a lot of lists maybe? Or are you the spontaneous people with a very flexible mindset? Structure, flexible. Is that a good introduction? Do you know where you are now? Cool. And yeah, as I said before, there is some majority of groups, and there is minorities as well. So if you have your goggles or binocular with you, you can see. um, and it's not a question if you're an introvert or extrovert. Basically, you can be in between as well. You can be an ambivert. Um, but it also means that you can. This is a sliding scale. You can be out here on 100% on this side, but you can also be on 100% out here, and you can stay in between as well. So you can. It's a flexible scale, floating scale. So based on the previous slide, do you know where you are in this scale as well? Hmm? These numbers could, of course, change over time. I mean, if you do a online test today and get some percentage, that may not be valid in a year or two. It could also differ from day to day, mood sets and things like that. But you're always moving in the same areas if you're answering truthfully. This is me. And I put on some nice words as well. So what does this figures mean? That means that I should probably not be standing here. And I do think a lot. I mean, when I say something, it's well thought. I don't throw words out of my mouth just to please someone else. And these are kind of in the middle. So I have the. I think I'm more flexible here. I'm closer to the middle, but these two are the more strongest properties or attributes that I have. And if you do this personality test and find out your letter combination, just Google it and you can find your own words, your own description. There are miles of text that you can read that actually describe yourself. Can be an eye opener. But also the slides, the floating scale here is, if you get this kind of words or this kind of description, it doesn't mean that you're agreeing on everything. Maybe here, when you got a high number, then you agree to a larger amount of descriptive text about yourself. But here it can differ a lot. And personality types. If you go more deeper into the person behavior, I choose this DISC model since that is another model that helped me to define myself and my relations to other people. This model actually, instead of saying you're introvert or extrovert, you're saying you're a color or a dominant color. As you can see here is a floating scale here as well. That means that you can be more or less red, yellow, green, or blue. So, have anyone seen DISC model before? Some. Have you done the test as well? That's pretty nice when you get 30 pages describing you. It's horrifying. Alright, I will try to describe these colors, and I will do it in some extreme sense. So I'm describing people who is out here. And I think if you think of your working place or a family or whatever, I think you can find someone who is a certain color. So if you take the red one, they are usually a typical leader. It's always full speed ahead. Time is money. Sky is the limit. It's very loud. And there is always activity around these people. So if you see someone running around and want results now, that may be a red person. The yellow person is more of an optimistic, very social guy or gal. Know a lot of people, or basically everyone. Very social. He or she is probably the first one who asks you what you did on the weekend, I guess. The C, I say C because that's a long English word that is hard to pronounce. His or she is very fact-oriented, likes the lists, really don't take risks, very systematic and striving for correctness. So that is also a very extreme color. The green one is a bit lighter. It's not extreme as the other three colors. It's more of a balanced color, where everyone goes around and yeah, it's very optimistic, kind, helping, the best listener, by the way. Team worker, very trusted, don't like surprises, and actually present the team before the individual instead. So it's a very good team worker. Just to attach to the previous slides, there is also the introverted extroverted scale on this one, where the red and yellow is extroverted and the blue and green is introverted. The other axis says if you are task-oriented or people-oriented. So down here you're very social, and up here you want your list tasks, you want results, bam, bam, bam. What color do you think I am? Blue. Based on the list. I'm a very strong green, but also very strong blue. And I would like to make that a proof of me standing here today. That is a large number. It could be up here, then you wouldn't even see these slides. Here's a lot of describing words about these people as well, and also mapping the color to the Myers-Briggs 4-letter combinations. I feel that I'm not going to read those, but I will leave you 30 seconds to read them by yourself if you find that you are some of these colors. And do they make sense? If you think about your coworkers or family members, can you put them in here? So my intention with this slide is to present my journey. And by journey, it could be a lot of things. It could be a professional journey, it could be a personal journey, it could be a technical journey, since that is the expertise area I work in. But I think that my journey, for me, describes what I think is a good leader. And I put down some bullets for those, but those two models give me a pretty good image of who I am. This one I can use on other people as well, so I know how they are. And this model also says how I should adapt and adjust to be able to have a good relationship with that other color or the other people. Have you heard about the expression about you should be yourself? There is two scenarios where you can be yourself, where you don't need to think about this. That is, one of those is when you are completely alone. Then you don't have to adjust to anyone. The other scenario is when you have a bunch of people around you, but it's clones of yourself, it's your mirror. That is the only scenario where you don't think about these two. In all the other relationships that you have with other people, you have to adapt and adjust some bit. Yeah. You can be on different percentage on this, which means that you're be able to have different combinations of all colors. So everyone is pretty unique. And one thing that I didn't say is that these two and these two are counter colors, which means that if a red person have a relationship with a green one, you have to have great understanding of each other's. That is the counter colors, and the blue and yellow as well. So yeah, even if you're the same color, you have different backgrounds, you have different combination of things, and you have you can't guarantee that the counterpart is not adapting either. So you're always on a flexible line everywhere. One other tool that I have been exploring is the coaching approach. How many of you have been near a coach or is a coach? Oh, sorry, it was two questions. Being near a coach, we start with that. And is a coach. Cool. During this coaching education I went through, I got a lot of knowledge of how to communicate and motivate others. You become real close to NLP, the neuro language, so you can actually reprogram the opposite person that you're talking to. There is a really good example on YouTube. If you search for Red BMX NLP, then you will find a pretty cool quote. So that is a pretty important thing as well. And as an introvert, this one is actually the one that helped me most. It gives me tools and methods to actually communicate, not by talking, but by listening. Um, and for those who saw the attributes for the green one, the best listeners. So that one suited me perfect. The other one, that is the Swedish word or Swedish abbreviation for it. It's called Utbildning av grupp och ledare. So it's a Swedish defense school that gives this course, and it's more about how to handle groups and how to be developing leaders. You're not allowed to talk about the content of that, so I'm going to skip that, leave it a bit of a mystery. But it's a group dynamic, very group dynamic oriented course. So together with this, knowing who I am, knowing how others are, and how we relate to each other, how to communicate and get your team in a certain direction. I think this is my answer of what a good leader is. Yeah. Yeah. So when I work in groups, when and how do I use these two methodologies, or just yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I think we all know that we work better together with some people. Um, and to be able to work with the other group of people that you don't work that well with, but if you're forced to work with those, um, I think if you don't have any knowledge about yourself or others, I think you get stuck in an environment where you're just blaming each other or pushing things away from yourself and blaming others. So these two models, with the combination of this one, of course, because this is a powerful method. Even if you want to go in the right direction, what you think is right direction, and trying to motivate others to go the same way that you want, with just listening and creating some counter questions to make the other party to think. That is a great tool. Very powerful. Yeah. The thing with this one, to be able to call it coaching, you really have to have an agreement between the coaching and the client, the coach and the client. Otherwise, it won't work. Of course, you can use a coaching strategy to adjust a bit behind the scenes, so to speak. So yeah, I have come across with people I can't work with, but it also has some kind of how strongly am I willing to adjust or not. That is also a good thing about it.